Hello. Thanks for tuning in to our stream. So I just wanted to start. This slide's a little bit early. I apologize. Let's go back here. Welcome to the stream. So I wanted to thank everyone for tuning in to the second installment of Let's Play Winnipeg and Indie Developer Spotlight. We would like to begin by acknowledging that we are in Treaty 1 territory and that the land on which we gather is the traditional territory of the Anishinaabe, Cree, Oji-Cree, Dakota, and Dene people and the homeland of the Métis Nation. My name is Daniel Voth, co-chair of IGDA Winnipeg, and I will be your host for tonight. So for context, for those that are unaware, IGDA Winnipeg is the chapter of the International Game Developers Association, which is the largest non-profit membership organization serving all individuals who create games. With the support of fellow co-chair Corey King, we at IGDA Winnipeg are working hard behind the scenes to provide a number of events and initiatives that will benefit our community. I encourage everyone to follow us on Facebook and Twitter to learn more about the work that we're doing, and follow us right here on Twitch to get notifications when we go live for future events. And about future events, our next upcoming event from IGDA Winnipeg and Peg Jam Radio, we are going to be presenting Frequencies, which is a night of video game audio exploration, showcasing insight and perspectives from 4 local experts. So tune in and turn up your speakers for Frequency. Again, a night of audio exploration. So it's going to bring you insights and perspectives from 4 local developers, hosted by Peg Jam's radio curator, Julian Butel. Frequencies will feature 4 15 to 20 minute presentations exploring various elements of the craft, followed by a roundtable discussion where nothing you can hear will remain silent. So we'll get to the meat and the potatoes of the stream. So a little bit more about this particular event. Let's Play Winnipeg is an indie developer spotlight where we invite local video game developers on stream to play a selection of their indie and game jam projects. So during these Let's Play sessions, we will have an opportunity to learn more about all of the creative and talented people in our community. We will also have a chance to learn more about their process and insights into the development of their projects. So without further ado, I would like to introduce our guest, Rebecca. She is a self-taught game dev and an artist who fell backwards into the industry and couldn't be happier to be here. She loves participating in game jams. She loves participating in game jams and learning about all aspects of game development, from art to programming to design. She especially loves working with other passionate people and having fun together. Outside of games, she loves camping, animals, and relaxing with friends and family. I want to thank you for joining us on stream, Rebecca.
Hi, everybody.
So to give people more context from your own words, like maybe you want to tell, before we get started, you can tell our audience a little bit more about you and some of the work that you do, and then we'll jump into some of your games.
So currently I am an art director for a company called Gallium Artistic Services. I've been working remotely this whole time before everybody else thought it was cool, so that's been fun. And my career path has been pretty wild. I got my job actually because I won a contest, but before that I kind of like snuck my way into the industry by just making 3D backgrounds for comics, and then eventually I got a little intern position at Tangent Animation here in the city. Before that, I was a dental hygienist who had a degree in the sciences. So I don't know why I'm here, but it's great. So anyone can do it.
I like that. I feel like that's representative of our community and the people in it. Just super talented, passionate, and really like inviting. So I'm glad that we have a chance to share your project. So where do we want to get started? Which of your games do we want to get at first?
Should we ask the chat?
Let's try that.
See, you have my roster over there. Perfect. Science, am I right? Yeah.
The monster one I've seen in chat.
Are you guys ready for some a cappella music and sound effects?
So, before we jump into it, do you want to like give people an idea of what we're going to be playing?
Honestly, more fun if you just get into it.
Okay, we can do that.
Basically, the inspiration behind this one was I was trying to find a way to make a character feel like they were actually engaging with you through a very simple mechanic. And so I can't even remember, what was the theme for this one? Heck. This was a Brackeys Game Jam entry. I can't remember what it was. Let me find out.
I believe you said you got first place in graphics for this one?
Second. This one was second.
Oh, this one was second. I think I made might have made a...
Dun, dun, dun.
Okay, let's change this.
Yeah,
That's good. Very low? No, we're going let's go high.
Do it.
Cool, so here we go.
We'll never know what the theme was, and that's okay.
So for context, I had a chance to play this a little bit as I was kind of getting things set up. And it's kind of, like you mentioned, it's fun to just jump into things. But it'll be even cooler to kind of get your insight into like even like these little art pieces and the way that this character is designed. I have absolutely no context behind what it takes to do that. So yeah, I guess I'll just kind of jump into it here and try messing around, and you can...
But where are you screencasting from? Because I can't find your screen on...
my apologies. I gotta fix
that. I'm like kind of following along on the Twitch. I'm like, I want to be there live. Thanks, Corey. Boom, watch stream.
There you go.
Now I get the live experience. Yeah. Also, can the chat hear the music? I put my heart into it.
I believe they should be able to.
Yes. Okay.
I can hear snoring
Perfect.
sounds.
That's me snoring.
That's cool. I love those little nuggets too. Especially like when you're kind of making a game by yourself or with a really small group of people. You're not gonna, you just plug in a mic and yell into the mic.
Yeah.
So what am I trying to accomplish here?
Just keep moving around. See what you
Oh,
want to do with your little hand there. Gotta give it a little tappy tap.
So the interesting thing about this is that this is kind of similar to some of the things that Matt had implemented in his games when we had him on stream, where it was like, were you intentionally trying to build an intuitive gameplay rather than, do this to have this result and not have it be like explicit?
Yeah, I wanted to be as implicit as possible. I wanted to give the actual, you can see that was a reaction, like boom, like you knew where to put it because you're just moving things around on a table, and you can kind of see over in the upper right what the monster sees, sort of. And so you kind of like respond. You be like, ah. My disco monster. Nice shuriken for the pile. Like that one.
So I can kind of build my own thing.
Yeah, the idea is you want to make a weird heart, but you don't have to make a heart. You can just pick a shape of whatever shape you want. Maybe a little further, yeah.
Okay.
His eyes get bigger.
Ooh, let's put a flower on there. I like that. Not sure what that does, but it's got some good vibes.
I have a question. How did I make the glow animation? Is it in UV space, vertex colors, 3D position, and a shader on the monster? Yeah, it's actually in world space. I just put like little. Oh, he didn't like that one. Did not like that one.
Okay, so I'm gonna take that away.
It's coming from his hands and just like rippling up his body. And so, yeah, it's like a sine wave.
It's because he didn't seem to like this red one, so I'm going to throw this one away.
He didn't want the actual heart. He wants abstractions only. Only abstractions.
Is this where the weird heart comes into play? That's a normal heart.
Also, another important thing that I feel like really added a lot to this, like the believability of the monster, was that his eyes go between looking at what you're making and then at you, and they'll follow you around the screen.
Okay.
And so he's kind of like between like all the movement and the breathing and all that stuff. He's like definitely paying attention to what's going on, you know?
Okay. I like those little quality of life features.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah,
so I think I've built something. I'm not sure if it's a heart, but it is definitely weird. Okay, let's confirm that.
Yeah. Hey, you made a heart.
That's interesting.
That's the game.
Huh. I feel like it definitely has like it has like a vibe to it, like the little effects and just the way that the character it just has like personality to me.
Mm-hmm. And that was really what I was after when I was making this. It's like I just really wanted to make something that was more of an experience than like a traditional game. It's like definitely kind of moody. Like you wake up in this weird space, you got a weird arm, there's this person sitting next or across from you, they're kind of creepy, and like they start off very like kind of like hunched over with tiny eyes, and then their eyes kind of like get bigger over time, which kind of makes them more almost like approachable from a design perspective.
Okay.
So that's yeah. The big like qualm people had with it was that they're like, this isn't a game. I'm like, no, it's not, and that's okay.
It's interesting. I feel like that's kind of what you touched on earlier when you talked about making like games being accessible and anyone can make games. You really hit the nail on the head there. Like, it's really not about what it's defined as. It's what you enjoy making.
It's like, yeah, you don't have to make a twin stick shooter. That's okay. Oh, where'd it go? I think it disappeared through the table there. It looks like we have 2 questions in chat from Matt Welk. So Matt Welk is asking, how did you make the monster with all of those fur pieces? Did you hand place them all, or is there a simpler way? Matt, you're not going to like this.
Uh-oh.
I hand placed them. I literally, well, it's all the same piece over and over again. No! Yeah, that alone. This was the Brackeys game jam, so I had a week, and this was a solo project, so I was like, I'm just gonna make for like a day. And so I spent like 4 hours literally just placing pieces on top of the base mesh until I was happy. So yeah, no, it was a saga.
Looks
I'm happy with it.
So there's another question also from Matt. Matt is Matt's liking your game, it seems. So how did you make the glow animation? Is it in UV space, vertex colors, 3D position in a shader?
Yeah, I spoke to this one briefly before. I'll let you be the questions intermediary. I won't step on your toes.
Oh no, it's okay. If you want to jump in, that's fine too. We'll kind of have it be an organic experience, I guess. But
yeah, I can explain a little more though. Like, so if you place one, we can kind of closely watch what happens.
Oh, place one. Sorry.
Yeah, place another guy in there. Oh, yeah. So that one was more of a slow one. So it was kind of different parameters like color and speed, and there's actually a directionality to it. It's like sometimes it goes from the head to the arms, and sometimes it goes from the arms to the head. And like you basically, yeah, they probably won't like that. Yeah. So you can see it's like red and quick, right? And it goes from the head to the arms. And it doesn't always respond the same way to every piece. Some pieces it'll do more of like a neutral response. Some will be positive, and like it's kind of random between those two. So that one's like a curious neutral one.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's like a bunch of flashing. It goes through like a gradient really fast in world space. So it'll like it's basically a sine wave that's extending radially in all directions from the head or towards the head. And so yeah, it just basically colors, and then there's like an emission kind of not switch, but like slider that just kind of goes up and down when they're emoting. So yeah. Oh, that's a cute heart. That one's abstract. I like it.
I found it's like I guess
is
there no way to like rotate the pieces as you're putting them down?
My phone? Tweet? Am I binging on my end? Because I'm not hearing bings in real life.
You're not hearing, sorry?
Because Corey's telling me that he's hearing like pings, but I don't think I'm pinging. Is it on my end? I can like put my phone somewhere else if it's being a bother.
Yeah, it's oh. Did you catch that?
I saw it just whoosh, flew off into left field.
Cool. Let's try go back to your page here, and unless there's anything else you wanted to add about that particular game.
That's pretty much it. There's one more question. Or two more questions. How many animation assets are in this game? I'm curious how much is procedural. I think that there were 4 or 5 actual like animations. So there's like just breathing. When you start the game, there's like an angry breathing, sleeping, neutral reaction, positive reaction, negative reaction, and I think that's it. That was a lot of fun, was making those, because that's obviously like the most important part for selling a character is the believability of the animations, you know?
We also have another question before we move on from party business. But is there something to make tips glow more than the deeper fur? So that's UV or vertex color or texture or something.
That'll be UV. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So that's part of why I made this guy. Was I literally just copied and pasted the same piece of fur. So I unwrapped the fur, that one piece, and then I copied and pasted it all over. So all of them had the same UV unwrapping, which was basically like 0 was the tip and 1 was the base. Mm-hmm. And so there's just like a gradient texture that's masking off the base. So it's only the tips that glow.
Interesting. Mm-hmm. So if people are curious or interested to give this a try for themselves, we'll go ahead and post a link in the Twitch chat. And you can play this game here, and throughout this stream we'll post links to all of your games so people can give those a try. So we'll go back to your page here, and
Dan, I think that's your phone that's beeping like that. I'm not hearing beeps in real life.
I think so. We don't have to worry about that too much.
Okay.
Yeah.
Audience, ignore it.
Okay.
We're here to have fun and play games.
So which did you want to pick the next one for?
I'm gonna select just a brief romp through Slime King, Slime Mountain battle. Just because I feel like it's definitely a sleeper visually. So it's kind of a weird one. We can't actually play it, but I did want to talk about it just because I thought it was a really interesting one that I got to work on. Slime scroller, get it? It was going to be a side scroller, but then
I actually didn't get that.
It. No. we changed the entire idea after we'd already made the thing. Right. So.
Cool.
So this one was interesting. I actually did the back-end programming for this one, which was weird. So the premise of the game is you make a slime and then you release it into the arena where you fight other slimes. But the thing is, the other slimes are actually characters that other people have made and played with. So, Dan, if you want to offer this slime up as tribute,
okay. Let's do
the
that.
process. Tribute to the Slime King.
So are we?
Yeah, you can give it to him. Yeah. So when you load into the game for the first time, you're given like a base slime, and so you can name it. I think you actually might need 4 letters.
Dan.
Dan. Maybe you don't. I don't know. And then you get to pick like your team. So you get one of the 4 colors.
Okay, I see. Yeah.
And then you can change your like color within there, and then you can set your stats.
So we are gonna be a tank.
And so important to note is that like when you have a highest like stat, like so for example with the highest defense you get to be an urchin. Highest attack I think is
let's try
bull.
that. We can give that a try.
Yeah, or like devil. I think speed you get to be Sonic, something like that.
What is this? This is Sonic. Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I love all the little attention to detail. Like when you're picking your team, you're not just picking a solid color, which typically, you know, if someone's beginning getting into game development, you know, it's maybe simpler to pick a color. But as you like level up your skills, it's nice to add these little kind of quality of life things that allows you to personalize your slime.
Exactly. And then when you see your slime later, it's fun because you're like, yeah, that's my slime. Like I picked that exact shade of blue. That's my name. That's my like stat, right?
Right.
And then normally if the database was still functioning, it was expensive, so I got rid of it. We had to like host a whole website to like get a database. It's very annoying. But it would show you the highest ranking slimes down here and like their wins and losses. And so you could like set out into the game and be like, I'm gonna beat, you know, Dan, that guy. He's orange. Screw him.
So you mentioned that this game you worked on with a number of people remotely, like in different like physical locations. What was like your specific role on this project?
So I was completely the database. That was all. So that was me. Troy was the programming with the actual like. I don't think we're gonna get to see the actual battle just because I think it might be. Or maybe if you give him one more point, then we'll get to see what the arena looks like. Or then you can fight. And so it's not gonna load because there's no other slimes in the database.
Okay.
You'll forget. But normally what would happen here is you get 12 slimes teleported in, 3 from each team, and then you have to kill the slimes. Basically, you get to like eat the slimes of other people's teams, and it's kind of like every time you attack, you get a little bigger, a little stronger. They get a little smaller, a little weaker, and it's kind of just fun. And then when you win a game, you get back to the lobby, and you now have new stats to distribute, and then you can like just like build your slime.
Cool. So it looks like we have another question in chat from Party Business. Let's see.
Z might object.
Z might object to requirement of 4-letter names. Okay, so I guess that's for those that are outside of our community. His name is Z. It's a 2-letter. It is a 2-letter name, so I guess that might be a little more difficult if there's a 4-letter requirement.
Yeah, and the only reason I made a 4-letter requirement was because the database was expecting 4 letters. It's like a 4-letter string so the way it saved it was it would create a string that would be like the 4 letters of the name and then like a semicolon, and then it would give the team, which was like a value from 0 to 3, and then it would do the stats, which were their actual values, and then the wins and the losses, and they would save that as a string and shoot that to the database. And then when you start the game the next time, it would reload the entire database as a series of strings and then use those to spawn the other slimes. So it was actually very interesting to learn how to do. Yeah, you need to pick. Oh,
I didn't use all my points.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, give me a flower.
Interesting.
Yeah, it was very interesting to learn how to do, because I never knew this, but like a lot of these database games, it's basically like asking for a method to be called, except the method is a website, like not like a publicly accessible one, but just kind of like some URL and then like a bunch of nonsense after it. Mm-hmm. And then it will, instead of giving you a website, it'll just present a string, and then the game can read the string and then use that for whatever it needs. And it can request specific information from different quote unquote web pages. So I don't know, that was fun.
So I actually have a question that I don't know I've ever asked you about this particular game. So your kind of traditional discipline within game development, of course you are multi-talented.
I try to be.
Typically what I guess is you do a lot of like art, graphics, VFX, I believe, that kind of stuff. But this
my forte is definitely art, yeah.
And this is like a database. So what was the decision behind such a departure in what you're typically doing?
Well, it was because this guy here, Penguin Potential, he really wanted to do the art.
Right. Okay.
And then Christophe also wanted to do the art. So I was like, we can't have everybody doing the art. So in the end, Penguin, he like made the arena, and Christophe did the characters, mm-hmm. and I was just doing like back end stuff.
Cool.
But yeah. The reason I wanted to like try my hand on it was also because like at work at the time, I had like had a conversation with our back end programmer like about what he does. I'm like, that sounds kind of cool. I'd like to know a little more about that so I can be better at my job. Mm-hmm. So I can interface with him better and understand what the heck he's saying half the time.
Cool.
So, yeah.
So we can jump into another game.
Sure. Anybody from the audience have a suggestion?
So if you see here, so we have After Hours, we have Lamps, we have On the Fly, and we have Tadpole. You got to make a game. Tadpole. There we go. Tadpole. So this is this I knew was like another jam. Mm-hmm. This one was like Ludum Dare. So like the last ones we had done weren't. This is the first Ludum Dare game that we're playing.
Yes. Yeah. I have 3. Actually, no. Technically, the last one was Ludum Dare. Sorry, never mind.
The slime
that
one?
was Ludum Dare. I think it was Ludum Dare 44. Okay. Maybe 43. No, 43 is the bird one. Mm-hmm. I can't expect to keep up with this. I'm gonna find out what the theme for 45 was. Cool.
So did you want to just jump into this, or did you kind of want to give a primer about what Tadpole?
Let's think. I can find it. Okay. Let's think. Yeah, I can give a primer. So basically, what was the theme? Why do I never write down the theme? What's wrong with me? Let's think. So this one, what was the inspiration? It's gone forever now.
It'll be on the fringe.
I'm gonna do their past themes. Is that something I can find out? Maybe Oh, here we go. Okay, this was Ludum Dare 45. So the theme was start with nothing. Okay, yes. So me and my friend, and this was also done remotely actually. So we were talking about like starting with nothing. Like, what does that even mean? This is the same jam that for Matt, it was that Words with Enemies game where you start with like the word nothing.
Right.
And we were kind of like imagining more in like a physical sense, like what would that mean to like Like, what would be like starting with nothing? And we're like, what if you weren't even like a person? What if you were like something like small, you know? Or like, I don't know, like a crab or something. And we're like, yes, a crab. Crabs are adorable. And so we made a cute crab. Also, there's this one actually has volume control at the top left there.
Oh wow, look at that.
I know, and so, yeah, we're like, imagine if you were just like a little crab stuck in like a hole, and you had to like get out by I have legs.
Oh, this is cool. This has got like a Nintendo 64 vibe.
Yeah, this one's definitely, yeah. This one I actually did the programming and the environment. So
and just to clarify, this was a Ludum Dare, which is like 48 to 72 hours.
I did not sleep, Dan. I did not sleep. But yeah, so I'm gonna see if you can figure it out just by using the instructions.
Okay.
I won't distract you.
So I have claws. Climb by holding left right mouse button.
Left right button.
Okay. Oh. Okay.
Yeah, the camera's not great.
Claws. Where I'm gonna assume I'm trying to get across the river. Yeah, the camera is a bit.
Are you playing? Which version are you playing? 'Cause there's a camera fixed version.
This is the camera fix version.
Dang. Okay.
I can't.
I was hoping this was the better one, or at least that I made it better. Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting.
Are...
I noticed when you go into the water, you made a point to kind of mute the game audio.
Yeah, we have a version song that's like, oh, you got it. There's one.
So this is a thing that I'm wanting to grab.
Maybe.
Okay.
I am a crab.
Jump with space. Okay, I can do that. How do I get out of here? Escape the tide pool. Okay. Oh, I broke it? No, this one.
You just tossed it.
Okay. It's interesting how you can really capture like that like cartoony, warm, fuzzy platformer vibe where it just feels like this is a game that's accessible to a wider range of people.
I'm glad. I was really worried that it was going to be really incomprehensible.
I mean, the camera is like a little bit hard to maneuver,
it's way
but
too close.
It was also made in 48 hours, so.
Yeah. I don't want to be like, oh, so, excuses, because nobody cares about excuses. Yeah. So, how would you escape a tide pool if you were in a tide pool?
I would. I'm not sure, to be honest. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not even sure I know what a tide pool is.
Okay, it's a hole in the ground.
Oh. Oh, okay.
And that was honestly the biggest problem this game had, was that 50% of people made that leap, like that logical leap. They're like, oh, I need to escape the tide pool by climbing out of the tide pool, probably because they experienced what a tide pool was.
Right.
Which is like a hole in the ground that is intermittently filled with water.
Oh, there's an entrance over here.
Yeah. And also, you can grab the ground and the walls.
Okay. So I'm seeing like the light coming out of the ceiling.
Uh-huh.
And there's this ramp here. So do I need to get on top of this rock?
Yeah, try and grab the rock. What happens?
Oh gosh.
This was not my strongest design of all time.
Ooh, there we go.
In terms of
it's a lot easier to climb. Oh no! You know what's interesting? Like anything creative or kind of projects, with more time you're able to kind of tune up like areas here and there, whether it's programming or art. Because once you do get the hang of it, it's kind of fun to explore like worlds that you're able to build and to have people play those.
Yeah. Yeah, it just like this game has like problems in terms of like instructions and stuff, and it's kind of, you know, the camera's a little funny, but honestly, once you get a hang of it, it's actually a lot of fun to just fiddle around and like climb, jump at the crab.
So I'm gonna jump over to the chat here. We have a few questions. So Corey _Zenfry is asking, how did your team come to this idea?
Okay, so so the theme was start with nothing. And so we end up being like someone who has nothing, like, okay, like something small, something like kind of harmless, like a baby crab or whatever. Like you just hatch and you want to get out of this place, and maybe you need to find stuff to help you get out. So what you have to do to win the game is you have to actually grab this stuff and bring it to the top of the pillar.
Okay, I got the hang of it now.
Yeah, there is a little itty bitty like pale tutorial or like thing that tells you what to do on the side of the screen at the bottom there, but no one ever notices it. And that would have been something.
I am noticing it now, yeah.
Okay, like that would have been something that obviously better playtesting would have fixed, where I would have been like, this is something that's gonna be on top of the screen. Oh, you got it, nice.
Oh, cool.
You can also just like shoot stuff at the top of it, and that also works.
Okay, so what the intention was that you climb up there and bring it up there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And so it shows you the objects you need on the side there. So you need a screwdriver, a cup, a stick, a plank of wood, coral, a shoe, and a bottle.
Okay. So while I'm finding some of these other objects, we have another question. Matt Welk, how does the leg animation work? Is it just one animation based on speed? Is it good even when the crab is walking in any direction?
Yeah, so it's actually just like they don't actually go in a direction; they just go up and down, and it's lerping between like a fast walk and like I think just stopping. So I don't. Maybe there is actually. You know what? I didn't do the animation myself. That was my friend who did the animation on the character. I think maybe there are. Let's actually test it out. I actually don't remember. So if you go forward, what does this look like? Oh, you found the screwdriver.
So you want me to just walk forward?
Yeah, just walk forward. Yeah, just walk forward. I'm curious. It's always fun revisiting old games. Yeah, it looks like it's actually, it looks like it's always going in the right direction. Now it's going sideways. Uh-oh. Yeah, it looks like it actually is correct. As per like the direction of the crab to the direction of movement. Good job, me. Man, I really thought that through.
Okay, I'm not sure where my screwdriver ended up, but let's grab this thing.
It's gone. Yeah, this is done really quickly. Yeah.
Oh.
This was to the Breakfast Gamer. This was made for the Ludum Dare 45 jam. Oh, nice. Oh,
is I supposed to let go?
You can, but it counts. Don't worry about it.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, because originally you actually had to take everything up and meticulously place it so you could get closer to the light.
Okay.
But literally no one could do that, including me. So we're just like, as long as it's gotten there once, and then you'll see at the end.
So I'm curious about the process in making the art. So as we kind of talked about, Ludum Dare is a jam where you typically make games with it either within 48 hours or 72 hours. Mm-hmm. Where did you kind of pull the assets from to make this game? How much of it was of your own kind of creation, or did you pull it from sources?
So the crab was made by my friend, and pretty much everything you see, I textured in Substance Painter. And like these little guys, I painted in Substance Painter. I love these little guys. I love their AI. It's so stupid. All it does is it tries to face you, which leads them to like rear up when you get really close. And I love that. I love that aspect of like all these like kelps I made in Blender and then textured in Substance Painter. The whole grotto I modeled in Blender and textured in Substance Painter. And then I'm actually proud of the lights. If you want to look at the lights for 1 second when you have a chance.
On the top of the...
Yeah.
Okay, let's see if I can do this.
You got this. Oh, nausea.
Yeah, a little bit.
I know, eh?
Oh my gosh, that's hard. I'm sorry. I'm
It's okay.
I'm like totally not doing you any justice right now.
No, it's totally fine. If you want to just look up, maybe it'll work.
Oh, one sec, sorry. I'm gonna try and back up here and then turn to look at it.
Okay. Oh yeah, so I was proud of how I figured out those light beams. They're not actually volumetric.
Okay.
It's just a cylinder that I made a shader for it where it's transparent, and it's a Fresnel fall off, which is what a Fresnel is it's basically a value from 0 to 1. How, like, what is the angle? So if you're looking straight at something, that's 0.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you're looking at a tennis ball, the point that is facing you is 0, and then the point that is facing directly outward is 1. Right? So like 90 degrees angle to your vision is 1. So what I said was, for cylinder, when you are looking at it, the Fresnel of 0 is bright, and the Fresnel of 1 is not bright and is transparent. So what you get is this nice like ray of light that's actually just a bunch of cylinders.
It's so interesting how, I know I'm being super repetitive, but like how all of these components have such a large impact on the player, but they might not even notice it. I think especially people that aren't game devs, they kind of take these things for granted, but they don't realize how much of an effect it's having on the player. I mean, that's my thought.
Yeah, no, I completely agree.
We have a very important question before we wrap up this project. So from, I don't know if you're seeing it in the chat there. So from Megamon 1996, does the adorable crab have a nickname?
I feel like it did. I feel like it did have a nickname, and it was fantastic.
You know what? I got an idea. So we'll get the Twitch chat to formally give the adorable crab a nickname.
Kristen our crab, guys. Kristen our crab.
So when you make the sequel, we can officially give it a name.
The controllable version.
Cool.
Yeah, and so when you collect all the objects, which like nobody did,
right.
Because it was impossible to play. Basically, there'd be like a little cutscene, and they would all stack up on top of the tide pool, and you'd climb them to the surface, and that would be that.
Mm-hmm. Cool. So if people want to give this a try, we'll post a link to this in the Twitch chat, and you can kind of mess around with it and hopefully learn a little bit about your games and making games for yourself potentially one day.
Can you control the crab? Dun dun dun. Yeah, this game did not do well in rating.
Okay.
It did not do well.
So actually, before we jump into the next game, what would you, if you could go back, so like they always say hindsight is 20/20, and the more experience you get, the better you become. What would you do differently if you could kind of go back and make the same game?
Oh man. So one thing I learned about from this game was that you should never, ever, ever give the player control of the camera. Ever. and so you said, to be very interesting at the beginning, you said this feels like an N64 adventure game.
Okay.
Which I think is so apt because they also had horrible cameras. Because they also had no idea what they were doing, right? Because it was a brand new medium. Like they had just come from the SNES, right. And they were just doing their best. So every game had these ridiculous, awful follow cams that were nauseating, right? Mm-hmm. And it's really funny to play them. It's even Mario, the player didn't even have this conceptualization of what an in-game camera was. So they had a Latiku that was their designated cameraman. They're like, tell Latiku to stand behind you by pressing the C button, right? Mm-hmm. And you could tell it to make discrete movements, but it was just awful. And so comparing this to my other games that did well graphically, which I would say would be Lamps, On the Fly, and Make a Weird Heart, the difference is that I don't let the player touch the camera. Mm-hmm. Every single scene is composed. There's never an instant of the game that is not exactly what I want the player to see. And I think that was my biggest mistake with this game, was that I let the player have way too much control.
And I think it's important to sort of mention for people that are interested in game development is that, you might not have all of the tools or the skills to kind of bring your kind of idea to life in the way that you're kind of thinking it. But I think the important thing is that, and I think this is reflective of the work that you've done, that you kind of progressively increase your skills and you get to a place where initially you weren't maybe able to accomplish something that you now are able to with experience and practice and just kind of creating things.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Not all of the games I've made have been I'd even say successes. This roster of 6 games here is a tiny fraction of the prototypes that I've made that are just unshowable, Right. And it's every time you make it, it's a little better. And sometimes you're lucky and sometimes you're not, and that's okay.
So maybe we'll put it up to the Twitch chat for the next game. So we have After Hours, Lamps, On the Fly, and so it'll be those 3: After Hours, Lamps, and On the Fly.
Scuttle, Snips, crab named Snip.
Scuttle. I'm gonna vote for Scuttle. I see Matt Wilk suggested Scuttle for the nickname.
Those lamps. It's dog time. It's dog time, Matt.
So one thing I do know about, I'll let you kind of explain the theme behind this game, but one thing that I do know about this is it got first place in graphics for Ludum Dare 46.
No. You're thinking of the bird one. This one actually did very poorly graphically.
Okay. We'll just kind of
And no, that's fair. The reason why it did so poorly was because it was broken at the time of release. Yeah.
So there was a barrier to entry to people actually experiencing it.
Yeah. And that was another important lesson that Game Jams taught me, is that it doesn't matter how good your game is if it's broken, and people will not give it a second chance.
Which is unfortunate, but I guess you kind of have to that's another part of sharing any kind of creative work. You can make games for yourself, but if you're trying to make games externally, outside of yourself, you have to take these things into account. Absolutely.
It was interesting though, because this game did very well in terms of exposure. It got a crazy number of downloads. The number of ratings to qualify for Ludum Dare, to be on the leaderboards is 20. This one hit 230, and it was sitting at the top of the Ludum Dare itch hierarchy for 4 or 5 days.
Okay.
So it did extremely well in terms of people would play it. They're oh, this looks really cool, I want to play it. But then they hit the barrier and they had to stop because they're oh, it's busted. And this is not the jam version, I don't think. So I'm curious to see how it goes.
No, this is the post-jam version.
Yeah. So your dog. And important thing to note is this lamp shop is actually based off of my grandpa's lamp shop, Ideal Electric, which still exists on Selkirk Avenue.
Cool. It's nice that you I think it's really cool that you can pull personal life experience or just locations or people or things.
Yeah, I think that's the most important thing about making art in general, is that you don't.
Does anyone hear that? Hear what, Mr. Chairman? Is it barking? I feel like you have to give it some sort of accent. Maybe a neighborhood dog, sir? It reminds me so much of... Never mind. Where were we? We were discussing this quarter's profits, sir. Ah, right. These aren't any.
Or there aren't any.
Oh.
I was oh, should I let him have it? Nah.
It's the effort that counts.
It is the effort that counts.
Anyways, so I'm kind of... Ooh, there's a very moody vibe.
Spooky face man.
Well, I'm noticing little effects again. When you bark, the screen has a little bit of static, or at least it did.
You'll see. Maybe there's a correlation there. Let's see. So this game, we wanted it to be very obtuse on purpose. This was kind of more of an exploration on like how little information can we get away with giving the player. And so there is a way of knowing if you're going the right way, but I'm going to see if you can figure it out on your own.
Hey Sue, you hear me? They landed on the moon today. How about that? Do you believe everything you hear? Me? Sure. I asked the chairman's son what he thought. And he thought I should get back to work. Haha. Like father, like son, I suppose. Hey, yeah. Okay. I'm terrible at reading. I'll say right now.
If you feel more comfortable, I can read it out.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
I'm not so great at adding flavor to text. Okay. Oh.
Yeah, you can see that. So each scene, kind of like Resident Evil style, is composed in advance.
I'm gonna knock everything over.
Yeah, that's the most fun part of the game.
Okay, let's move on.
And, you made it to the end of the first level already. You did not even get lost once.
Okay, that was not intentional.
But yeah, it's a maze.
So as I'm kind of going through here, I'm going to read another question from chat. Matt Welk is asking, that door glow, how?
That door glow, how? Okay, so if you bark again. Like the top of the door, like where the glass is, or just the way...
I think so. There was a section where the door is like glowing yellow. I believe he's referring to that.
Yes, so that was actually very much intentional. So what that is you're seeing Unity fog in action. So, are they going for the road, Mike? No, thank you, sir. Mrs. wants me home for supper, and I'm late as it is. Fine. Tell her hello for me, will ya? Sure thing, sir. Don't stay too late, all right? God, it's dark in here. So the Unity fog, when you bark, it actually cranks up, like it ratchets up slowly. So you actually get this like almost yellowish glow in the distance. Oh.
So I'm noticing a new mechanic here. I gotta figure out what this means. Right now, I don't know what this is trying to tell me.
Okay. Ooh, spooks. Dun 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 dun.
Is that supposed to be doing that?
No, but
okay.
it was a glitch that we decided to keep.
Oh, it has no gravity.
It has no gravity. Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
Oh.
Okay, so I'm gonna go
You're
back.
out of barks, my friend.
Oh, I'm out of... Oh, am I about to lose?
Dun, 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 dun,
oh, that's so
dun,
cool.
Dun, dun,
That's so
dun.
interesting.
The theme of the jam is keep it alive.
Oh no, this is tragic. Oh, I made it back.
Yeah.
I got more barks.
And so that's actually where the original jam version failed, was it didn't do that. There was no fail state. We didn't have a time to put it in.
Oh, okay.
So what happened was, the way the maze works is if you get to a point where the lights are like flashing really like on and off, it's because the maze doesn't want you to be there.
Oh, okay.
But it wasn't 100% clear, and people were like, maybe there's the lights on one half of the room mean something as opposed to like, the other half. And so they got confused. Boy, things have been different around here since Chairman Jobman's dog died. Have they? You haven't been here too long. You haven't got to know this place like I do. That's so. Best believe it. Used to have the kids running around. People were happier. Chairman used to talk more. Huh. Oh, you don't really care, do you? It's just a job to you. Everyone here used to care. Doesn't really matter anymore, does it, old man? No. Don't suppose it does.
Okay. Let's take a look. So we have another.
Yeah, but like.
We have another question, or I have a question.
The outline of the door.
How does the quick feedback from jams inform your process?
Like in general, or?
In general, yeah.
I think it's actually extremely helpful because it's like and it'd be nice if there was like kind of an iterative thing. Like if you could put your game up in a jam, and like that was like part one of the jam, and then people would play it, and then people would iterate, and then we could play them again, and then do reviews again. That would be super nice because you kind of get to learn one lesson from each game. And so like the lesson this time was make sure that your player doesn't get stuck forever in the dark, because that's what happened. Is there was no fail state, so when you ran out of barks, that was it. You were stuck in the dark, and there's no way to know if you're on the right track, right?
Ooh, there's a lot of lamps in this one.
The lamps are actually procedurally placed.
Okay.
And another thing I wish we could have made more clear was that you refill your barks by visiting the ghosts.
Oh, okay. So that I didn't pick up on.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, it's like that's the kind of thing that we tried to fix a little more in the post-jam version. I still don't think it's 100% successful. We tried to make this entire game without any tutorial stuff whatsoever, like no hand-holding whatsoever. And I don't think that's the right way to go in the end.
Right.
So I guess I should made it much harder.
I guess it is a balance. You know, playing a number of your games so far, you can see like the range of like feedback that you're giving to the player and the pros and cons that come with that. So I guess, I mean, let me know how you feel, but it seems like it is a balance between kind of trying to build this immersive experience versus allowing the trying to coach the player through it, not getting stuck.
Absolutely. Yes, I'm not a huge fan of like shoving instructions in the player's face in a really like explicit way, like press like, you know, or like just being like refill your barks by visiting ghosts. Like that's cool. But what's cooler is learning that your barks are refilled by visiting ghosts, like kind of whatchamacallit, organically, you know? And some people did figure it out. Some people did see the connection, and there was, I'd say about 10% of players were like left absolutely crazy glowing reviews of the game. They're like, I felt like a genius. I felt like I understood, like I intuited that the flashing lights were a clue. Oh, you're good, okay. I figured out that the ghosts refill your health. I figured out how to get through the maze. I felt like a god among men, you know? And like that's what we were kind of shooting for. But if there was a way to make that more accessible, I don't know, you know? Because it's kind of like, how do you on the one hand make something, went right through the wall. Whoops. How on the one hand do you make something really accessible, and on the other hand reward a player for doing something very difficult, you know? So it's kind of like Dark Souls. Like, do you give an easy mode, right?
So, I'm noticing a new thing here. There's a door blocking. Is this a new mechanic?
Oh, that's just don't go that way.
Okay.
We accidentally built the maze too big, and instead of removing the doors, we just blocked them off.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I really appreciate how you can use like different skills to build something that really feels like a thing, or has like a certain feeling to it. Because it's fun to make games that are maybe technically challenging, and it allows you to have certain interactions, but it's also fun to make games that kind of touch on your feelings and emotions and things like that.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I've always been more of an intuitive designer in that way. Like game mechanics are cool and all, but I will always start with a feeling or a tone. And so the tone that me and my friend Josh went with here is what they call liminal spaces. Like, you know that feeling when you're like in a school after hours and it's like no one's there and it's like kind of off. So we wanted to like go to a place kind of outside of its normal reality almost.
Can I go this way?
don't think so.
Oh, I found it. Next,
Dun-da-da!
look at that. It's I like that example you bring up because I remember for the longest time, probably longer than the average person, I was like afraid of the dark. So
Yeah.
and there's that same emotion that I got, you know, not wanting to go into the basement after like 9 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of
It
touches that like childlike being scared of something that really isn't there, and I think it's captured in this experience.
Oh, I'm so glad you think so.
Yeah, and yeah.
Because the reason I chose the lamp shop was because so this real lamp shop, it has been there since like the turn of the century, and I mean the previous century, like 1900s. Go towards the light.
Oh,
Yay! And like I played hide and seek in this place,
Right.
and I cannot describe to you how terrifying it was to be in like this dark room that smells like old, and it's like got like lamp shadows everywhere, and it's like just you and your sister in this big factory, and it's like oh, and like I played there as a kid, my mom played there as a kid, and my grandpa played there as a kid, you know. And that kind of was what inspired like the story of like and actually thank you for not reading into the story too much, because now people can play it and not have it spoiled.
Right.
Yeah, kind of like a space outside of time, and I think we actually definitely hit it on this one, for sure.
So, what do you like? This is your preferences to make these kind of games, or do you enjoy the range of different projects that you're able to make? So, like the tide pool is a pretty large departure when compared to lamps.
Yes. Yeah, I prefer this kind of game. Kind of the more quiet, slow, not too much going on, not too technically challenging. Like, and that might just be because my personal preference in games has, especially recently, I feel, become a lot more slow-paced. Like, I will definitely prefer like a relaxed narrative experience as opposed to like a shoot 'em up. Like, I'm playing Control right now. No spoilers in the chat. But it's the first time I've played a AAA game in a while, like maybe a year or so. And the pacing is so intense compared to what I'm used to, where it's like 20 minutes in, they give you a gun, you're like, whoa, 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 whoa. I've just started walking around, you know? And so it's like, oh, geez, this is a rush. But yeah, I definitely prefer kind of like more quiet, emotional narrative games. And I feel that as a designer, that definitely they come through stronger for that reason. Yeah, so that's lamps. Lamps.
Cool.
We had a heck of a time naming the game. We had no idea what to call it, so we just settled on lamps.
Yeah, it's interesting how much effort you put into something like titling your game that really, you know, doesn't matter so much, but it's really fun to find a name that kind of captures that experience.
And like maybe it captures it, maybe it doesn't. I like it. I think it's kind of fun.
Cool. So
yeah.
if anyone has any questions, shoot it in chat. We're gonna move on to the next game. One thing I'll kind of add is like I appreciate that you put value into experiences like these, because I think there's more to video games, and you touched on it. There's more to video games than making shoot, jump. Those games are fun too, but there's just so much more to kind of offer an audience, and even for yourself. You know, I think, like you mentioned, you made this game based off of personal experiences, so it's I think there's something therapeutic in
Absolutely.
some sort of way.
Yeah, therapeutic is actually a very good word for it.
Yeah,
that's very true. Do you guys want to see On the Fly?
So it's, we have two more, On the Fly and After Hours. Do you want to end with that one, because this is like
it's the PS. It's my magnum opus. I'm chasing that dragon still. My first Ludum Dare, and I won, and now I have to live up to that.
Cool. So maybe we'll jump into
yeah,
this.
let's play it.
Cool.
Yeah, for those here last time, get ready for part 2.
Okay, let's open this up. After hours.
Nice. That's in the chat. Just relaxing, having a good Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
Chilling.
So while the game is loading here, this is another game. Actually, so I have context. You initially started working on this game during a local jam that we had, and you were working with a number of other people that were also local, whereas your other games were a kind of a combination of people that were external from Winnipeg.
Actually, Josh Hurd is local.
Right, sorry.
Yeah, but yeah, definitely. I've definitely made a lot of jam games that are people around the globe. So yeah, it's been nice to. It was really nice to actually like get to sit down with people in real life and be like, alrighty. Like, we went to a Starbucks the night the theme released, and we just like sat there with coffees and just like hashed it out, and that was really fun.
So what was your role in this game? Did you pursue the art, or did you?
Yeah, I was art in this one for sure. Towards the end, there was a lot of kind of like fine tuning that needed to get done between the hours of midnight and 6 a.m. on Sunday. So I kind of jumped in to the programming at the very end for that. But other than that, it was Kai did the programming, Julian Boodle did the sound, and Matt Welk did the level design.
I'm just gonna adjust the audio real quick.
For sure. Corey asked a question, in terms of career, is there a moment or project that hooked you? That's a big question. I don't like a moment, like one singular moment, but it's kind of like that feeling whenever you have like something you want to make. Like I'm always making stuff, and like it's just like I almost have like a problem I want to solve either emotionally or technically, and like the way I process that is by making things. And I feel like games has recently been an incredible outlet for that, because it lets you create like a whole world. You know, like you can do anything. And so you can add like if your question is, you know, like just purely technical, like this game was like, how do you make a fun game? So the theme for this one was sacrifices must be made. This one I did remember because we discussed it last time. Like how do you make a reverse Metroidvania, which is what we decided to do. Like because normally in Metroidvania you would start with like no objects, and you'd have to get objects, and that would let you put things away, right? That would let you progress. But this time you have to put things away in a particular order in order to progress. And so, for example, the lava boots that you just gave up so wantonly, you're gonna need in the bottom. In the bottom left corner. Can you
actually? So which one am I supposed to do first? Because
it's the shoot. Okay, I think it's the gun in the bottom left.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think we missed. I don't know if there's an exit sequence that I missed out on during the last stream because
you did. Yeah. I'll just coach you this time.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's bottom left first. I think you found a secret path. Yeah, remember to use the map. It's a little easier with the map.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. But yeah, so it's like we had like this technical question, like of how do you make a reverse Metroidvania? And so I think we solved it pretty well. Like, it's not perfect, but I think that with some refinement in terms of like giving the player more hints, or you're gonna want that one. I'm sorry.
Oh, I do want this one.
Yeah,
Oh,
I think
this is not
the last one you
left.
give back. So
I see,
it's
sorry.
the very, very bottom. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it's the gun, then the boots.
Gun in the boots. Let's do this. Oh,
The bottom.
gotta go this way.
Wait, where's the map?
I gotta go
You
around.
gotta go straight down from here, I think.
Oh, I have to go around. Okay.
Oh, you're right. Never mind. I'm wrong. That is correct. See, I don't even know. You can walk in that, yeah.
Oh, this is
yeah,
the lava. I see.
Yeah, and so then you just shoot through the door with the space button. And so now you can give crouch suit. Is that okay?
So I'm going to the top left?
I think you're going to the top left now, yeah.
Okay, sure.
And then it's the top right, and then it's the bottom one that you were already at. I think. But yeah. So this was like a more of a technical problem. And that moment where you finally release it and you're like, oh, like, we actually, solved this in a really creative way. And it's maybe not perfect, but it was our way. And it was exactly, it's unique, and it's an expression of who we are as people and the way we think and the way we see the world, No more shooting. That should be okay. Yeah, you're good.
I think one kind of common theme that I'm seeing in your games and of course many other jam games is that you don't have to follow that traditional path. Like, this is literally the epitome of that, where you take a concept and you literally inverse it or flip it around or
Exactly, yeah. And so and that's the coolest thing about game jams is everybody got the same question, right?
Right.
Everybody was asked, make a game about sacrifices can be made, and everybody approached it almost completely differently, obviously there's some low-hanging fruits out there where it was so now you want top right, yeah.
Top right?
Yeah. And we're usually in every jam you get one mechanic or something that 20% of people do, and that's oh, another one of these, let's enjoy that, I guess, but yeah, so now it's the boots. But other than that, everybody answered the same question, and I think that is the moment that keeps on happening, that keeps making me fall in love with making video games, is the what's it gonna be? Because you don't know what it's gonna be until you make it, and it's always something that reflects you, like lamps. Nobody else could have made lamps, not because it was some technical marvel, but because I think yeah.
Oh, I'm not. That was the secret passage.
Yeah. But because it was personal, it was a reflection of who I am in a way, Yeah, you got your tiny legs. yeah.
So where am I going? I'm going to this spot?
No, you're going to the middle of the map.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. You remember the exit platform that you saw a little while ago? That's where you're going. You got no jumps, buddy.
This is where the platforming comes into play.
I mean,
more so than it has before.
Oh!
That's
win!
Cool. That's a fun little exit or win screen.
Yeah. We try to keep the arcade aesthetic strong.
So
that says the pickup sound. Yeah, the pickup sounds are so long. Sorry, I cut you off.
Yeah, no. So where are other areas that you kind of take inspiration from in this game in particular? So obviously Metroidvania is an inspiration. But where do you kind of pull from?
Oh, geez. I don't know. This one was pretty straightforward in terms of inspiration. Like we referenced, Samus's battle suit. We referenced the way that they make the levels was with these chunks, right? And we obviously did a 2.5D where you're still only moving in a 2D plane, but it's the background and the level is 3D pieces. Mm-hmm. So we tried to kind of recreate that pixel art kind kind of compartmentalization, almost like where it's like tiles, but we did it with 3D. And so that was fun. That was fun. That was some inspiration. Yeah.
You know what this game reminds me of is I'm not sure. You know that game where you are the janitor in the death match of like a level. After people have the death match, this person comes in and they're like kind of mopping the blood off the floor and the bullet casings. So you're not like actually shooting. You're just cleaning up after a multiplayer match has kind of taken place.
Yeah. It's kind of nice because then like the pressure's off. You're just like, I could take all night at this if I want to, instead of like being in the actual deathmatch, which would be an entirely different game, you know? And this game is the epitome of chill. Oh,
that's a little
wait, again. Same one again.
Right, we want to jump into
victory
on the fly.
And then Corey asked, why did you initially enter dentistry, and is there any crossover with games? Yes, there is, Corey. The reason I went into dental hygiene was because I didn't get into dentistry. I was like kind of 2 years into a science degree as like a wee Rebecca. So wee Rebecca didn't know what she was up to, and I was like, dentistry sounds lucrative, and I'm dexterous, so I can do that. And I did it, and I worked really hard, and I'm terrible at chemistry. So I didn't get it. And then I was like, shoot, now I need a career that's, something that I can just hop into. I'm like, dental hygiene. It's rated like #1 career in Canada. Why not? And then, so I did that. And I was just like, yeah, that's why I ended up being a dental hygienist. It was because I didn't know what else to do, and it was a job that let me kind of like move forward with my life how I wanted. So that's how I got into that. And then happily I got a job at Tangent, and the rest is history. But there absolutely is a crossover with games, and it's not what you'd expect. It's like, so everything I learned in the sciences, like chemistry and physics, and like biology, all of that comes into play in my art all of the time. Like all of the time, like knowing how biology works and knowing what kinds of weird creatures there are in the world. It definitely adds kind of like a diversity and like almost a fresh take on the way things work. Like the way I made the flowers, like I took a course in plant biology. So, like that comes into play when I'm making a plant. I took a course on like invertebrate biology. So that comes into play when I design how the birds move. I took a course in physics, so I know how light works. So that comes into play when I design, the lighting in my games. And so like everything came back together, and it's information that I would not be the same without. So that's how it all ties in. I feel very strongly about that.
Cool. So we're gonna play your magnum opus as you described?
Yeah. Get ready for some cute stuff. It's too bad I'm not there playing it with you because it's a 2-player game, technically.
Right.
But it can easily be played with 1 player. You'll see. That's got my old last name. Woo-hoo.
So what are the... Oh, I see. Okay. Here we go.
Yeah.
Uh-oh. It has that... I'm not like super familiar with artists or art styles, but it has that like child's comic book art style.
This one we definitely reviving off of Studio Ghibli when we made it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So that explains that. You're welcome for the detailed and thoughtful answers, Corey. I feel strongly about it, so I feel like, and not that I have to justify the time I spent like doing that, but like I'm happy I did almost,
Oh, this is interesting. Okay, so I have a choice here. Thinking of joining a sports team. I would like to join a sports team.
They liked it.
So what
and
effect,
so
what effect did that have?
you need a little heart in the top right, but got a little bigger, got one size bigger. And so we actually did not put death in the game, mostly because we didn't have time. But I'm very happy we didn't, because it improves the game immensely to not have death in this silly little bird game. What you can see in the top right is actually a hunger bar.
Okay.
And so the idea is you want to make sure that neither bird is hungry. So what you do is you press space and...
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's the... this is the whole game.
So there is no... Is there a win sequence?
Nope.
And what effect does these options have on the gameplay?
It just makes your heart a little bigger or a little smaller.
Okay.
And it's so the theme for this jam was two incompatible genres. Oh, I didn't like that one.
Nope.
And so we combined a dating sim with an endless runner. So, yeah. Oh, your little bird's getting hungry.
No. Oh, I keep forgetting, yeah. It's interesting when you're playing it by yourself, you flip the controls around, you gotta...
You gotta like rewire your brain.
Yeah.
Yeah, games with no fail states. Okay, so Party Business asks, how did you decide to roll the world like that? It's inspired by Animal Crossing. And so apparently Animal Crossing actually does the same thing we did. Now you might be, you know, why is so many boots?
There's a lot. Oh gosh. This might be dark considering how you... Or actually, I guess boots just end up in the water. That's a game thing.
What about humans in the water? Didn't like that one.
Interesting.
It's completely arbitrary.
Is it?
Okay. Yeah. Oh shoot, what was I saying? I'm distracted by like the cute like birds.
You were talking about Party Business had a question, I believe? Or?
Oh yeah, Party Business question. How do you decide to roll the world? Yeah, so Animal Crossing, me and my friend Josh, who made this game together, we wanted to do an Animal Crossing like world roll thingy. So we just thought it was a nice look. And at first we were looking into shaders that would like create like a rotary space that you could sort of, I guess, go through. But it turns out that Animal Crossing actually also did what we did, which was simply create a cylinder and just roll it. And and then just like spawn bugs that come at you, and then spawn like stuff in the water that floats along the surface. So yeah, I should play this game again. I should play it during work, because it would make me feel better.
I'm just noticing that I'm just... It's interesting how it's very simple, but it's still something that you can... Doesn't need to be overly complicated. You talked about, like, earlier in the stream, you were talking about mechanics, and this is a pretty simple mechanic.
Yeah.
But it still is engaging.
Yeah, it's like, is anime real? You pressed the button. I didn't like that. When I say arbitrary, I mean that Josh programmed the answers in advance, and it's impossible to guess, but they do have right or wrong, and you got the wrong answer. Yeah, this is the dragon I'm continuously chasing forever. Was just this state of perfect birdness.
I guess I'm gonna load it back up because I had a few questions.
Sure.
So if anyone else has questions in the chat, go ahead and send those. Let me start up again.
That asks, what is the heart symbol in the top right for? It's for love, Matt. That is all. You cannot win, but you can find love. And I think that's beautiful. Yeah.
So this, I don't know if we touched on it already, but this one got first place?
Yeah, this is the one that got first place in
Yes.
Ludendare. Yes.
So maybe you can like explain like how that process works for people that might be unfamiliar with Ludendare. You get ranked for certain categories?
Yeah, so the way it works is I believe there are 8 categories in all. Graphics, fun, overall, fun, innovation, how well you match the theme, graphics, audio, mood, and I feel like I'm forgetting one. In fact, I know I am. It feels off. But they basically, people will play your game and they'll give you a rating from 1 to 5 stars in each of those categories, and then you kind of like at the end of the, I guess, 3 weeks or whatever it is, the whole thing is just revealed and you just get the leaderboards. But you need to have 20 ratings in total in order to appear on the leaderboards.
So what kind of, did that sort of have any impact, or what was the results of having a game in a more visible kind of position, I guess?
Oh, it was wonderful. Oh, it was absolutely wonderful. Like, I'm not afraid of being judged in that way. It's just not how I am. But like, I can see how it would be stressful, but I quite liked it, just because it gives me an actual way of, like, it gives me a data point, essentially. It's like, oh, like for lamps, I had thought that I would do pretty well because I thought that, it was technically pretty good. It's it looked nice, but it scored very poorly because what happened was people kept getting stuck in the dark and dying and just leaving the game, and they would get to the rating screen and they'd be like, for graphics, oh, I didn't see anything, so 0. And so if I had never gotten those ratings, I would never have known. So yeah, like obviously, like I felt sad that it didn't do well, but like I think that that's not the point. Is the rating? It's what you learn from it.
So we have another question from Party Business. Have you played any Flash Dentist games?
No, and I don't know what that is, but I'm looking it up right now. Flash Dentist.
So similar to some of your other projects that you've done, in terms of like going back and maybe refining a feature or taking something away or adding, what would you change in the mechanics of this game if you could kind of go back and iterate on it?
Honestly, I don't know. I think it's perfect. I wouldn't change a gosh darn thing on this one. We actually did a post-jam version that I showed at Comic-Con 2 years ago, and all it really was a UI pass, and it had more questions. But I think it's exactly what it's supposed to be. This one, this one's
okay.
Good.
So I guess sometimes it's what you make is good enough. I don't know if that kind of makes sense, but you don't always have to go back and make something better.
Absolutely, yeah. It's like this is exactly like when I said like when we start with tones. It's like this one, the tone was like relaxing on a river in love. Like that was it, And I think we succeeded. And it doesn't need death, and it doesn't need an end. I think it's good just the way it is.
We have another question in chat from Sugar Kill Saul.
Hey, Sugar. How you doing?
How did you manage to focus with such cute birds?
I don't know. Honestly, I have no idea. It's a mystery to this day. I remember there was a meeting at Tangent that I was sitting in. I don't know why I was in a meeting. That wasn't important. But floating really fast. But I was just doodling these birds the whole time. It was nice. So it did impact my focus.
Another question from Prime Gaming Megamon 1996. Does anyone know what kind of bird the smaller light brown bird is?
I just made a sparrow. I just thought it was a cute little...
So it's a sparrow and a crow.
Yeah, the sparrow. Their names are Sparrow and Crow. They are perfect birds, aren't they, Sugar? They are. Look at them. Borbs. Josh was calling the one on top the board because it was a bird orb.
Bird orb.
Orb. Perfect bird shape.
Interesting. One thing that would be interesting, given the opportunity, is to give people the context behind how you made it. So when you talked about it, it has that Animal Crossing mechanic to it, where it's like spinning on a world.
Mm-hmm.
It would be nice to be able to show people, kind of like what's the gears that are kind of going on behind the scenes, I suppose.
Yeah, I wonder if I have any images of like. Let me look for a second. I can send them to you over Discord, maybe.
I think you might have posted on Twitter, I believe, at some point. I mean, that must have been a number of years ago. But.
Yeah. I'm trying to see if I can find it. Oh, this is Luminary 41. Holy cow. Let's see if I can remake. Because I know I took a screenshot at some point of the cylinder world. But I guess my process was I started off. I made a keyframe. Oh, here it is. Yeah. Let me just put that in our chat.
Okay.
Hyperscope. Here is the environment. The cylinder of weirdness.
Okay, let me open that up so I can share it with the stream here.
It's got no plants on it, and so it looks weird, but it is what it is. Where's my keyframe? Okay. And this is an interesting one because, yeah, that's what it looks like. Because I kind of just started like in the industry at the time, and I was just learning the way that things were done, which is sort of with like a meticulousness that I wasn't used to. Mm-hmm. So the way it worked in like a tangent is, the art director would send a key shot, and I just put that there. So the first moments of the jam, after discussing, with Josh what we wanted to make, I made a key shot, which is basically like a colored drawing of what you want the tone and the look to be. Mm-hmm. And yeah, it's also in Discord. I'm putting these things in there, and then so that was our target. Mm-hmm. And then I head off to make the kettle and the crow. I'm just gonna keep putting these in here, like in modeling and stuff and all that stuff. And then meanwhile, Josh was working on the prototype, which I think I also have in here, at least a GIF of it maybe. Where would that have gone to? I don't know. But here's kind of part of the back and forth that we had, which was, so he had all these balls on a cylinder that was rotating, and the balls were the heads of the birds before the birds were attached. Mm-hmm. And I basically overlaid that with the key art, and I made like little lines like, this is, where this should be. I need to bring the cylinder down, or at least bring the camera up a little bit. And then the balls should be bigger and all that stuff. Like, this is before we had any art done at all. And then as things came together, we wanted to talk more about, like the lighting of the scene. So I made a bunch of different colors, versions to like shoot for. There you go. And then I was trying to be very clear about like what the different lights should be doing at different times of day, and then we would blur between it. And the entire sky is actually one big rotating image. I'm sure I have it somewhere. Certainly in here somewhere. Yeah, here it is, The Wheel of Time, for anyone who likes that series. It's a big file. There you go.
Oh, that's interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it's just a big rotating disc that has all the times of day. Yeah, so that's pretty much how it came together, piece by piece, as a team. So definitely working in the industry was very helpful to kind of make the process a lot more concrete than maybe it otherwise would have been. Mm-hmm. So it was cool.
So I had a few kind of general questions.
Of course.
So you have this, you have your own personal journey kind of that you've taken through in game development. Mm-hmm. and a lot of it you're able to kind of experiment. It seems like through game jams. What kind of like advice would you have for other people that kind of are liking your different projects or your art, or whether it's lamps or after hours or on the fly? What advice would you give for people to pursue a similar path?
Like
To make games,
just like jams, or to
Yeah.
make games in general. Okay. Oh man, I don't know. I can't give advice because everybody's different.
Right.
I don't know. What worked for me would probably not work for somebody else.
Or how does, I guess maybe a simpler way to phrase it is, how does someone get started? Because it almost seems like games can be an endless. You have all this experience, right? And you've built up all this stuff. So where does someone start if they want to do what you're doing through these games?
Like, I don't know. I guess the beginning. As stupid as that sounds,
Right.
I don't know. Like, if you're in high school, just crack open Blender and see how it works. Or maybe you don't want to use 3D and you want to use 2D and you want to just, draw cool characters. And then, like there's tons of tutorials all over the internet for Unity or for Godot or whatever you want. Sorry. Like, just, I don't know, just what story do you want to tell? What emotion do you want to share?
Right.
I don't know.
It's kind of like a. Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, for me, the kind of like the inciting event was I like contests, and so I started using 3D in a more kind of like artsy fashion for these ArtStation contests that were like hosted by Star Wars, and so like that's where it started for me. And then I started doing more stuff, and then I got hired at Tangent. And it wasn't until like a year and a half later that I started doing games. So it was like,
Interesting. So you touched on where you started and kind of how you progressed to where you are now. But one thing I'm kind of curious about is what is the next step? Where is the next milestone in your journey? Wherever it's going to take you.
One day, one way or another, I want to make my own game.
Okay.
Like big time.
So like you want to. So I guess taking the experience from all these different places, like you've made your own games before.
I know, but like, yeah.
But you're wanting to do it in a more kind of formal capacity, I suppose?
Yeah. One day. Yeah, just like, I don't know. I've got a story I want to tell, and it's bigger than me.
Right.
So, yeah,
okay.
That's where I'm at.
Cool. So I guess we'll begin to wrap up things here. If anyone has any kind of last minute questions they want to throw in, I wanted to kind of, I wanted to thank you for your time and your contribution. I think it's important to mention to the audience that you are pretty actively involved in our local community. So I would encourage, I don't want to put you on the spot, but I would encourage people to reach out to you.
Yeah, please.
If they want to kind of learn more about you or maybe the community or advice. I don't know if that's something that you're able to offer.
Yeah, I'm on Twitter, Fighty Felon. Also, if anybody is wanting to get into the industry, apparently Tangent's hiring right now, so apply. They'll take almost anyone.
Mm-hmm.
Case in point.
Cool. So, in terms of following, you mentioned your Twitter account. Is there any other ways or any other projects or stuff that you're working on that you want to share, or just your Twitter account?
It's all in the DL for now.
Okay,
everything beyond that,
cool.
Everything's just in the process of existing.
Right.
So it's not ready. It's not ready for eyes yet. But.
Right. So. Yeah, if you want to contact her, you can play her games. We'll post a link to this webpage that you see here, so you can give everything a try, and you can contact her on Twitter. And as we,
I think my DMs are open. I'm pretty sure. Let me check.
Switch to another window here. So I'm just going to add a couple other words in here. So just bear with me.
Make sure my DMs are open. Safety and privacy.
Let's open that.
I've received messages from everyone. Yeah, cool. So yeah, just DM me if you want to talk about games or anything, because quarantine is lonely. So hit me up.
Awesome. So I wanted to, sorry, just one moment. I wanted to thank everyone for watching. And again, extra special thanks to special guest Rebecca for joining us on stream to share your amazing work with our community. I think it's also important to recognize that the stream graphics you see were created by Christian Miranda, courtesy of Zenfry. And the intro and also the outro music that you'll hear when we end the stream were provided courtesy of Peg Jam Radio, organized by Julian. And again, I would really encourage everyone to follow us on Facebook and Twitter to kind of keep up to date with regards to all the events that we have planned. And if you actually go ahead and follow us on Twitch, you can get notifications when we go live, so that way you don't miss anything, and you can, it's a lot more convenient that way, I think. And you can just stay up to date on all future initiatives and events. And thank you for watching. And I guess I wanted to thank you. And yeah.
Thank you guys for coming out. It's a lot of fun.
Thank you.
All right. Good night, everybody.